is the directorial debut of Jodie Foster, and it stars Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster playing his wife. Mel plays this guy named Walter Black, who's depressed, empty, shallow, doesn't know what to do with his life, won't get out of bed. His family hates him. They can't deal with him anymore. His son, played by Anton Yelchin, can't talk to him anymore, is creating a list and Post-its of all the ways he doesn't want to be like his father. And one night he decides, after he's been kicked out of his home, he's going to, cack himself. He's going to throw himself off the ledge of a building. And the only thing that saves him from doing so is this puppet that he found in a garbage can the day before of a beaver. And he decides the only way he can reconnect with the world is through this beaver. So he refuses to speak to anybody. They must talk to the beaver only, including the people he works with and his family. And he manages to sort of regain the footing in his life again, to the expense of his so-called sanity. So it's a very idiosyncratic, strange movie. And what's interesting about it is that it does so without any kind of irony or poking fun at its own characters. It's a 100% sincere on this idea, and because of that, it's sort of putting a big "kick me" sign on the back of the movie. It's asking to be made fun of almost, because it's so silly in its premise and so high concept, but it really wants to have those big emotional moments, and it really wants to say something profound about depression. In fact, I think if you watch the DVD, there's this little strange music video done with paper cutouts, and it's for some foundation for depression. So, I mean, Jodie Foster is owning it 100%. And I think the casting of Mel Gibson as the lead even furthers that invitation to make fun of the movie, because you can't help but see life imitate art here, or art imitate life, however you want to look at it. And Mel Gibson, in a sense, it kind of feels like a big apology letter to the world for being a crazy a-hole that he's been the last couple of years. But what I found interesting about the movie, and what kept me from just rolling my eyes and laughing at it 100%, is that the performances are very good. I think Mel, weirdly enough, isn't really in the movie. He's in the movie, but Mel Gibson recedes in favor for this beaver puppet, doing his best Michael Caine impression. And it's a strange performance, because he's almost asking, or Jodie Foster is asking him to not be in the movie as much as possible, as just to give the beaver the performance. And even the beaver himself, the titular character, isn't the main performance of the movie. It's sort of this beaver situation is sort of a backdrop for this whole other family drama that's going on, more so with, I think, Anton Yelchin, who is this student, his son, who writes homework assignments and things for money for other people, and he has sort of this romance with a valedictorian played by Jennifer Lawrence. So far, the only performance of hers I've really liked. And I think it's a strange movie, and it's kind of up there with Stranger Than Fiction and Lars and the Real Girl, as if you can stomach the eccentricity, it's actually kind of worth seeing in a weird way. So I give it a B-.
B-. Well, I saw it directed by Jodie Foster at the beginning and went, oh crap. No, please no. But I was pleasantly surprised.
As was I. Yeah.
Really enjoyed this movie. It was dark enough to make me giddy.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple good spots where I just went, fantastic moments. I had a lot of good moments that just made me really happy to see the movie. I thought the acting was good. The beaver, which, as you brought up, Mel Gibson was receding, but the beaver has Mel Gibson's original Australian accent.
Really? It sounded a bit more like Michael Caine to me. Like when he's first narrating the movie, it was like, oh, it's Michael Caine doing the narration. Then I saw that he's doing that voice with the Beaver.
Ah, see, well, that's just us Idahoans trying to...
It probably helps that once upon a time he used to be Australian.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's like he's using... The Beaver has an Australian accent. Look at that. Look how ironic that is. But yeah, all the Jodie Foster did pretty decent in it as this angry, crazy wife. And there was some really great, awkward scenes of the sexual nature with the Beaver that made me happy. And actually, I was going to give this movie a B, but I bumped it up to an A-.
Wow.
Solely because of that stupid little music video at the beginning with the little emo whale and the singing moon. And I knew that even if you kind of wanted to see the movie, you have to see the movie just because of that little music video at the beginning.
True, true.
Be like,
it's like one of those little animated shorts that you used to get, like the Roadrunner thing. It kind of sets the palette for the rest of the movie. It's like
how Pixar gets their little, their little 10-minute thing. There you go. It's just Jodie Foster pulling a Pixar. But yeah, I really liked it. It had, it's like real problems, real issues, done in the indie Sundance way,
Yeah, sort of.
Kind of had that.
Yeah.
We have actual, they want to make that real statement about some real issues, and they can't do it, real. I think I read some reviews where people were talking about how illegitimate it was,
Well, it's so, like I said, it really invites itself to criticism because it is so eccentric. But I think if you can look past that and you can just kind of throw your critic's hat off and just say, okay, she's owning it, so we better own it. Like, there is some real good moments in there. And for me, I think the best performance of the movie is Anton Yelchin, who we'll also talk about later in Fright Night. What did you think of his performance?
Oh, it does great. The kid is definitely coming into his own.
Yeah, I think he kind of came along the scene around the same time as the Eisenbergs and the Michael Cera and kind of stuff. But he has a slightly more accessible range than those actors, and I think he can I think he'll probably have the biggest future of those actors.
All right, well, we better move to our next movie. This one is Thomas McCarthy's